Have you ever had that feeling, that knot in your stomach, that rush of heat, that overwhelming urge to just disappear from a situation? Maybe it's a social gathering, a difficult conversation, or even just opening a complicated email. And then, when you manage to step away, when you avoid the thing, there's that immediate, delicious sigh of relief. A calm washes over you. For a moment, everything feels okay again. It's a natural human instinct, this desire to escape discomfort. But what if that temporary calm, that fleeting sense of safety, is actually a trap? What if in our very effort to reduce anxiety, we're inadvertently making it stronger? This is the paradox of avoidance, and it's a crucial concept in understanding how our minds work and how we can find true freedom from the grip of anxiety. Today, we're going to explore this powerful, often unconscious cycle. We'll break down exactly why avoiding things that make us anxious not only fails to solve the problem, but actively makes it worse, shrinking our world piece by piece. More importantly, we'll talk about what we can do to break free from this pattern and reclaim our lives. At the heart of the matter lies what psychologists call the anxiety-avoidance cycle. Imagine it like this. You encounter a situation that triggers anxiety. Let's say public speaking. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your mind goes blank. Naturally, your brain screams, "Danger, get out." So you find an excuse. You cancel. You simply don't sign up. The immediate threat passes, the uncomfortable feelings subside, and you feel better. This momentary relief is incredibly powerful. It acts as what we call negative reinforcement. It teaches your brain a lesson. See, avoiding that thing made the bad feelings go away. It worked. You were right to be scared, and you were smart to escape. Over time, your brain gets really good at this. It associates the initial trigger, public speaking, with fear, and then it learns that evading it brings safety. This is fear conditioning in action. You're inadvertently training your brain to be more afraid and more inclined to avoid the next time. The tricky part is that this isn't just about big, scary things like public speaking. Avoidance can be subtle. Think about safety behaviors. These are small, often unconscious things we do within a feared situation to feel less anxious, but they prevent us from truly learning that the situation isn't actually dangerous. Maybe you bring your phone to a party and spend the whole time scrolling, avoiding eye contact. Or you always sit near the exit, just in case you need to make a quick escape. These actions, while offering temporary comfort, stop you from fully confronting your fears and discovering that you can handle them. You never get to truly test the water. And it's not just physical avoidance. We also engage in cognitive and emotional avoidance. This means trying to push away uncomfortable thoughts, memories, or even entire emotions. If you constantly try to suppress worries or pretend you're not feeling sad, you're avoiding a part of your inner experience. This can be just as damaging, as it prevents you from processing those feelings and developing healthy coping mechanisms. The cumulative effect of all this avoidance is what we call a shrinking world. Slowly but surely, the areas of your life where you feel comfortable become smaller and smaller. You might stop going to certain places, decline social invitations, avoid new challenges at work, or even limit your hobbies. Opportunities for growth, joy, and connection diminish. Your world literally becomes smaller, and your confidence in handling difficult situations erodes. You never get to build those crucial coping skills because you're always retreating before you have a chance to practice them.
Moreover, this fear isn't always contained. The research shows that this anxiety can generalize. The fear of public speaking might start to bleed into a fear of speaking up in a team meeting, or even having a one-on-one conversation with your boss. The initial trigger expands, casting a wider shadow of anxiety over more and more aspects of your life. So, if avoidance is the problem, what's the solution? The good news is that psychology offers incredibly effective, evidence-based strategies for breaking this cycle. The core idea is to reverse the process that created the anxiety in the first place. One of the most powerful tools is exposure therapy. This isn't about throwing yourself into the deep end, but rather a gradual, systematic approach to confronting your fears in a safe and controlled environment. We use something called graded exposure, which means starting with the least intimidating aspect of your fear and slowly working your way up. If you have a fear of dogs, for instance, you might start by looking at pictures of dogs, then watching videos, then seeing a dog from a distance, eventually progressing to being in the same room, and finally petting one. Each step is a chance for your brain to learn a new, more accurate lesson. This isn't actually dangerous. I can handle this. Another cornerstone is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. This approach helps you identify and challenge the unhelpful thought patterns that fuel your anxiety and avoidance. For example, if your thought is, "Everyone will judge me if I speak up," CBT helps you question that thought. Is it always true? What's the evidence for and against it? What's a more balanced perspective? By reframing these thoughts, you change your emotional response and your urge to avoid. We also integrate relaxation techniques like deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation. These don't make the scary situation go away, but they equip you with tools to manage the physiological symptoms of anxiety, giving you a greater sense of control and making exposure feel more manageable. More recent approaches like acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, encourage a different relationship with difficult emotions. Instead of struggling against them or trying to make them disappear, ACT teaches you to accept their presence while still moving towards a life that aligns with your values. It's about doing what matters to you, even when anxiety is present. Imagine speaking up in a meeting despite feeling nervous, because contribution is important to you. Finally, mindfulness-based CBT is another growing area, focusing on bringing a non-judgmental awareness to your present moment experiences, including your anxious thoughts and feelings, without getting caught up in them or trying to avoid them. The journey away from avoidance and towards confronting your anxiety is not always easy. It requires courage, patience, and often professional guidance, but it is profoundly rewarding. It's about building psychological safety within yourself, fostering self-awareness, and gradually, gently expanding your comfort zone. It's about understanding that while avoidance offers immediate, fleeting relief, it's a false friend. True freedom from anxiety comes from learning to face what you fear, to experience discomfort, and to discover your own resilience. It means daring to take small steps, to speak your truth, and to engage fully with life, even when it feels uncertain. By understanding the cycle, you gain the power to choose a different path, a path of growth, confidence, and a world that continually expands rather than shrinks.